So J.J. McCarthy, who had soreness in his knee after playing in the preseason opener against the Raiders. There was no obvious indication during the game that he was injured.
Right.
Soreness in the knee. Next thing you know, meniscus injury that requires surgery. The team announced that yesterday, and I still have not seen, which makes me think that it's probably the bad kind, but also good. It's long-term good, short-term bad. When you get the meniscus fully repaired, you're out longer because the meniscus is basically a wad of cartilage, and you can trim it, but it's like money in the bank. Once you spend it, it ain't coming back. Once you trim it, you have less, and then you get older and you have less, and eventually you got nothing, and you got to deal with bone on bone, or you got to get the microfracture surgery or something else. So usually what we see is when a guy's got a meniscus tear, usually it's repair it, which means like 3 months. I remember players that have had that. Adrian Peterson had that his last year in Minnesota, the same year of the Teddy Bridgewater mess. He suffered a meniscus tear earlier in the year, had the full repair, and was out for 3 months. So the trim, you can get back fast, but you got less cartilage. You got less meniscus. And they haven't said, so I just have this gut feeling, and maybe it's just the general sense of doom that I carry into every football season because
correct.
I know something's going to come off the rails for the Vikings. Not that I care as much as I used to, but it still bothers me. J.J. McCarthy, just when we saw a pretty impressive debut, he's got that injury, and he's going to be gone for some period of time. But the longer it goes without us hearing how long it's going to be, makes me think it's going to be 2 or 3 months minimum.
Yeah, I hear you. I understand what you're saying there. There is that worry. Hopefully today this is one where Kevin O'Connell gets in front of the mic or whatever and maybe eases your pain and goes, no, we think he can be out here practicing again in 3 weeks or whatever. Hopefully it's that way. We'll see. But it stinks. I mean, I feel for you, man. I really do. I mean, no way, J.J. McCarthy. We know even if it is the good surgery and the fast repair, there's no way he's starting week 1 now. That's what stinks. And what we saw on what was that, Saturday, Sunday, either way this past weekend in preseason game 1, we saw a guy that he's ready. I know it's not perfect, but he's ready. The NFL's not too big for him. He's made for this offense and fits right into it. And I think what we saw this past weekend was what we talked about on Monday. Signs that everything was pointing in the direction of, hey, if J.J. McCarthy continues to play like he did in preseason game number 1, then he's going to be our starter in week 1 in the regular season, and we'll go from there. So that's where it stinks, Mike. It stinks, and, I think this quarterback class has a chance to be really good. And now we're delayed with one of them that, is really good.
He signed off his tweet with amor fati, which is not Italian. It's Latin for love of fate, which, okay, I mean, it's kind of like, hey, I don't just accept whatever life has dealt with me.
Right.
I relish it. I embrace it. I love it. And I wasn't looking closely enough at the rundown. Apparently, the doctors will decide when they do the procedure whether it will be the repair or the trim. And if it's the repair, he's out all year. Forget about late season. Here's J.J. McCarthy. They'll just shelve him. And then what are they going to do? They got Nick Mullins. They got Jaron Hall, who was a draft pick last year out of BYU, and Sam Darnold, the guy they gave $10 million to be the placeholder starter until they could draft J.J. McCarthy. Now it looks like maybe it'll be the Sam Darnold show for 2024, which they sold us on the idea that that's what they wanted to do anyway. There was a long story from Kevin Seifert of ESPN.com a few weeks back delving into the whole 2-year odyssey of Kirk Cousins to where they are now, and theoretically, even if they would have kept Cousins, they wanted Cousins for a year, and they wanted to use that high draft pick on a quarterback they could develop. This isn't the way they
envisioned
expected to develop the quarterback.
Right.
And just as you said, it looked like he could maybe make a splash. And, when we showed the highlights on Monday, and I wished I would have said this because the thought crossed my mind. There was a moment when he dove, and we had just praised Caleb Williams for protecting himself.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say when I saw that dive, if we have it somewhere and we can show it, I was like, no, whoa, what are you doing? It's a preseason game. No diving. No diving. We don't want to see diving. We don't want to see recklessness. We don't want to see you getting hurt in a game that doesn't count. And that's where that amor fati takes over. whatever it is, it is. I'm going to go out and play all out, all the time, and if I get hurt, so be it. Here it is here.
Yeah.
He spins, he twists, he dives. Now, it doesn't look like he injured his knee there, but it's just that movement, that's you want guys who are going to be more careful with their body when they play the most important position in football.
Yeah, I think he's got a gauge for that. Even there, I know there was a head first dive, but I think he knew where he was, and he did it in a way where I think he knew, wait, I'm diving here. My body's in a weird position. I'm going to protect myself. He's a smart guy. There's no doubt about that. I'm with you, Mike, in the fact that, like, you usually have a little sign watching the game. I mean, I watched every throw, every play. I'm usually that guy that texts you or somebody and go, ooh, and I'm worried about it. I could see him messing with his
Hollywood
knee.
Brown.
Right
away, Hollywood Brown.
Right. I
He's
see
hurt.
plays and I go, ooh, that looked a little weird. You could tell, somebody's messing with their leg and feeling it out a little bit. I did not see any of that. That's why it was such a shock when it came about. But yeah, it just stinks too because like we were showing in some of those highlights, he's a power thrower, right? And Kevin O'Connell, I don't know if anybody in the sport can get more people open over the middle 15 to 25 yards down the field than him right now. And McCarthy is made to throw those type of throws. That's where I love the marriage. His most impressive throws at Michigan were really that more times than not. Roman Wilson, some sort of tight end going on a crossing route, and he lasers it in there. So, yeah, it stinks. I feel for you as a Vikings fan. I feel for J.J. McCarthy and the organization there. But there is silver lining, and the fact that you insured yourself with Sam Darnold is a good thing, and he is starting quarterback caliber traits with better physical talent than a guy like Kirk Cousins in a lot of ways. Now, it's just, can he play like that? Can he be smart? Can he not throw interceptions? Can he consistently be good at week in and week out? I do think there's a possibility here. So I will say, even in the bat of J.J. McCarthy, it's a nice break for Sam Darnold for him to get a chance here to play and maybe show everybody what he's got.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.